Good evening there and welcome to Tail Slaters. Let's travel back to the dewy slopes of 2 days ago.
I don't know how to use it. That's my commentary. We've had it for a little while and it is DMX controllable. So a little afraid to test that on set. So I'm randomly pressing buttons as one does when one wants something to work or you pick it.
As I always say, if it happens between the hours of Nathan being at school, sure, I'll be there with bells on. Even better, I get to leave without rapping, which I do feel bad about, to be perfectly honest. I hope I'm in focus. I was on Dominic Smith's set, want to see something scary, I believe. I'll put the actual name down here, hopefully that was correct. While there, we had this lovely device, which is our Hazer, which we've had for, I don't know, maybe a year, 6 months, a year, something. And every time anyone of our team uses it, someone has to text someone and be like, how the hell do you use this thing? It's really confusing. There is a remote. I'm told the remote helps or works, but it uses a very weird battery, and every time I ever see the remote and I go to grab it and use it, I'm like, it uses one of those weird batteries. I don't have it. I don't feel like going to get. I'll just figure out the manual version. I always do in the end, and that's it. If you leave it alone and no one else breathes on it, then you can get through your shoot, which is what we usually do. For all I know, it's operating exactly as manufacturer intended, and it's just confusing. I turned my phone back on. While I was there, I was like, maybe I should do this. Maybe I should try and bring in the fog machine. I'm like, you know what? Let's not add a complication to the day. I'm doing something I haven't done before, and suddenly it's going to explode, and we're not going to have any haze, and you can't have a horror movie without any haze. So anyway, that's our goal today, is just to get this, to talk through this, and make it haze when we want it to haze. There are probably other elements to it. I'm going to check in with Genie Brain Trust and see what they think, if I'm missing something, if there's a better process for making this work. And if not, you're going to get what my brain thought of. If you look it up, it's by Mocha, M-O-K-A S-F-X, Mocha Special Effects, I'm sure that stands for, Mini Haze Machine. There's very sparse information on how to make this thing operate properly. And it's entirely possible that I'm stupid. I think I just turned it on, accidentally, by hitting the manual button. Let's turn it off. Now, first of all, we are using the Sidus One. For this purpose, I'm going to use Blackout, since I did buy a universe for Blackout. First thing you notice here up on the upper right, link status, actually, this is now Blackout Next or Blackout 2.0. It does now tell you what it's connected to. I don't think the original Blackout did. Anyway, just generic things I noticed. Anyway. So it is connected to the box. Got nothing patched, just to show that, or prove hopefully that DMX is functioning. I did stick an Infinibar up here. I am gonna be doing like a Halloween little mini short on Tail Slaters. So I'm starting to prep that. I decided I would use the inside of my house because that way I can like pre-rig a bunch of nonsense that would take a longer time to do, and I can just do it in pieces. So just real quick now, I do have right out of the Sidus One box, I do have the DMX adapter that comes with the Sidus One going to 5-pin DMX cables. And then because it's a 3-pin, I have an adapter going into the box. So going 5-pin to 3-pin in, and that's it. So it's basically out of the box, making a loop, DMX straight into here. If I take a Sky node, if I can get power to it, I should be able to like wrap all that up and just kind of tape it to the box so that it could travel with the box and be able to be moved around. 'Cause that's the one reason I probably don't DMX control boggers that much, or actually never, is because, you know, I don't want to tether to it. But if I can make it mobile, at least, you know, not the power to make the thing work, but if I can make the DMX element mobile, then maybe that would make it more attractive. Yeah, I think that makes sense, right? Yeah. Who doesn't want to hit a button over here and have fog come out over there? I mean, that's like wizard stuff, man. And because I'm not sending it any information, it's still in kind of its normal like manual mode. Now, near as I can tell, you know, I'm getting far ahead of myself. So anyway, let's patch in our Infinibar just to make sure that everything's working. Add a fixture. I have had some things here before, but just to show, I guess this is like a little addition. Actually, you know what? Let's stay on target. This is not technically a Blackout tutorial, but anyway, so just to stay on target, I've already done an Infinibar 12 in this scene and location. This is just, I have a scene and location set up for home. So let's just go ahead and patch that in. So it takes 7 channels. I set that to address 100 just to keep it out of our way. Call it fixture, let's call it fixture 999, just because it's an outlier. Address 100. There it is. offset, save. Let's just make sure that things are functioning properly. We'll go to fixtures, select the infinibar. Oh, unselected it, reselected it. Intensity, bring it up. All right, since we're in like the warmer tone, right now it's set at 2300. And why, you know what, should we do like a little color just for fun? Maybe a little, we'll go with the pinkish purple. No, I don't. Intensity, where's intensity? Oh, and you have to come, I'm still getting used to Blackout Next. You come over to intensity. I don't want to go too crazy because I think that's like at half battery and I really would rather not plug it in. So let's just say 50% and whatever that color is, that's the purple we argued about before. Anyway, we're just proving that DMX is functioning. I did some initial research just on this, and through their website, the operating instructions, which was kind of more like a bullet point list, said that it had two channels. That it basically had fog and it had the fan, which is very typical, I find, of most just generic hazers. So I figured, why don't I just find a hazer that's two channels, plug that in? It probably will work. So let's just try that again. It worked sort of. So let's go ahead and try and just patch a hazer of some sort. And you can see here I do have V hazer is what I tried by Roscoe. The other thing that I'll get into here is it's a little hard to see what channel you're supposed to be. I think find it, but it was not. It was kind of a guess, and I think it turned out to be the right guess. Channel 7 is what I'm setting to. Save it. Again, I'm not going to get too much into this specific hazer. Let's go to fixtures and let's just see what happens. Let's go into hazer, go into fixture, go to hazer. Oh, I set it to fixture 1000. Didn't mean to do that. I don't know why I'm not getting controls. I did before, but of course now that we're rolling a camera, now it's not going to do what it did before. Before I was getting a fan and haze. So why am I not anymore? See, it is here. So if I just change from pillbox to table, it is here. You know what? Maybe it's because, so if I go back to pillbox, come back to hazer, maybe I don't need to be on. Oh, I just had to come out of intensity. See at the top here, you have like intensity. You just got to deselect them and then it will show. Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, so blower and haze. Let's just turn up the haze and see what happens. I don't know if it's still, yes, currently not reading DMX in. Well, now it is. Let's turn the haze off. The last time I could not get it to turn completely off, which is kind of what it's doing right now. Blower was functioning last time, now it's not. Again, it's like, you know, you go to show something and it stops working. Let's just make sure the infinibar is still working. Infinibar is working just fine. You know, the one thing I think I did change is I changed from SACN. So let's just change it back to SACN. Because I think on the ArtNet, I think I had an offset. I did have a universe offset. Let's come back into SACN. Turn that off. Hazer. Yeah, Hazer's still not responding to me. It's a great tutorial, isn't it? All right, it is stopping now. It is not showing me what I would expect to see on the back here, which is that DMX is flowing in. I swear, you know, I just did all this before I started rolling just to make sure it was working as I expected it to. And the second I start rolling and recording and showing, it's like, nope, not doing that anymore. All right, so I did change from ArtNet to SACN. Let's bring the infinibar back up. Infinibar is still responding, so that's good. Let's go back to 53%. Now this thing, why is this thing suddenly not seeing the DMX is the question. Patch, I am channel 7 and 8. Yeah, I know. I told you I was going to be doing this. Remember? All right, so let's see if I can get back to address. There's address. I don't know why stop is doing that. Let's take that off. All right, so where's the DMX though? It's giving me DMX exclamation point, exclamation point. I know. That's kind of the idea. It's kind of the it's the idea of making movies. Movies like they enjoy the fog. Fog is kind of like auto cinema. It's like, you know, why this is kind of tenuous over here, this thing, so don't touch this, please. And I just don't understand why this is no longer working. It was working, and now it's not. And maybe if I take it manual, turn that off, no.
It's really more crazy.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. The whole thing is crazy. The whole thing is crazy. So this was working, and now it's not. Let me just unplug the DMX and plug it back in. There's no reason why that should work. Yeah.
Yeah, me too, like, well, it's low.
Uh-huh. Let's just say 7 still.
My game.
All right, what if we unpatch? Let's just unpatch this.
Sounds.
Okay. So I'm like, you know what? Why don't we just try patching dimmers? And
What?
that's what I did. Yeah, I see.
Yeah. That thing is off.
7. Okay. We're going to call this
But this one is
haze.
still coming out.
And we're going to call this fixture number, we'll call it fixture 1. Universe 1, address 7. Let's save it. We'll add another dimmer. All right, I'm going to call this fan. Address will say 8. Say OK. Fixture number will say 2. I would not normally name it that, but hey, let's just save it. I'm just trying to get this thing to recognize DMX, which it did up until we started rolling. And why is it? Why set DMX exclamation point, exclamation point? Because one exclamation point is not enough, so you know. Go to fixtures. I mean, there's no reason it should, but let's just go here. Now, maybe just the fact of seeing a signal on channel 7 will tell it that it's seeing DMX. No. Of course not. No. Here we got CRMX, we got ArtNet, etc. Sidus Mesh, not that we need that, but again, if I just turn this off for a second. The old off and on function. This is supposed to be this like tiny little video of like, hey, I wasn't sure how to do something, and so I figured out how to do it, sort of. In case you're ever on set and someone's like, hey, can we patch this thing in? And you're like, yeah, I think so. I've done it before. See, and that did it. All right, well, that did it. All right, so I'm probably gonna cut all that out. I don't exactly understand why. I'd done this before. I was trying not to waste everyone's time. Because it's something I didn't know, and I didn't want this to be a video where it was like, hey, come along with me and let's figure this out. I've done that kind of video before, which is fine because I think no one had used it before, like with Sidus Link Pro and Sidus One when it first came out. I'm like, yeah, let's do some videos of just like let's figure it out. Let's figure it out together, or you know, you watch me figure it out. Hopefully, it's helpful. Hopefully, you'll watch me stumble through something, and that'll be something you can avoid stumbling through. Was kind of the idea. I don't know if it worked, but anyway, turning it off, turning it back on. Has now changed the back of it. I guess I'll do a little video. DMX OK, meaning DMX, the DMX signal is being registered, I believe, because this was not here before. And when I go to function, you can set different, like the volume. I'm sorry, with the volume button, I think, yeah, you have the volume button. You can set to what you want. So I believe you're setting the volume where you want it. And REA, I'm sure, well, REA I assume means ready. So let's go to our dimmer control haze. Now in this, my understanding is this is not a 0 to 100 situation. This is an on-off button, essentially. So intensity 0 means this does nothing. Intensity 100 means start hazing. Also having the fan on, I assume. DMX OK. Should be seeing that, but of course it's not. So let's bring the fan on. Fan on, fan is responding. That's bringing some fog along with it. All right, so in theory, this should be coming out at the volume that I've set in here. Maybe I'll turn this so that it's not spraying directly at you. That might be a smart thought, I don't know. Let's go back to haze. So you see if I go to like to 19%, it shouldn't change. It should just be an on-off. Now let's see if it turns off. If I turned it to 0, it does seem like it is at least slowing down. I'm sure the fan is causing little tufts to come out, but the question is it done? Now I could also go to fan and turn fan off. So it looks like maybe fan needs to be at 100%. 100% means fan on. Anything under 100% is fan off. It's good when things respond. This is how it was working before, so of course it took like 10 different like acts of God to make it do it. So anyway, that was using dimmers. So let's unpatch that. Let's just take the dimmers out. I think there's a way to do more than. I think there's a way to select more than one. Can I? I can't. Okay, so like unpatch those two. Great. Okay, and then now let's try and add. Let's try and patch in the fixture as a hazer, which is a 2-channel hazer. All right. I didn't hit the actual patch button. I hit it, which basically shows you what it is, the descriptions. All right, so fixture number, address 7. Now it's interesting. I don't even know if it's worth showing. Anyway, yep. Let's just do it. Save it. Come back into fixtures. Okay. So I'm still getting DMX okay. So right off the bat of patching it, it starts to kind of turn on. But the fan's not full on. So it feels like it's doing something different than just on off. The blower was default set to 45. Let's bring that down to, between 1 and 100. Let's just bring it up to 100. That sounds like the blower, but the hazer is at 0. So again, this is not the correct model. I'm just using a generic hazer that had 2 channels. So when I turn haze up to 100, blower up to 100. Okay. If I turn haze down, it does seem like haze is responding. It's doing something, but it's not going to 0. So this is just a quickie addition from the next day. Just adding it as the V hazer, which again is not the correct profile for this. It's just the fact that I had 2 channels. It auto kicks it off into hazing. So let's go into the fixture. I call it fixture number 1, go into fixture controls, and you can see haze is at 0, blower defaults to 45, turning blower off, turning blower on. Blower on, 100 should go to fan. Less than 100 should basically be off. Just in this kind of like normal, waiting for more information cycle. All right, so interesting, got it. Let's unpatch this because I'm already filling my house up with smoke again. So V-Hazer, unpatch it. Here's what I wanted to show. So if I go into add fixtures, it's going to bring up anything that I've added to the show so far. So the V-Hazer is here, it's just not patched anywhere. So what I can do, well, first of all, let's just click on it. I think I've showed this before, but you can see it's got haze as channel 1, blower as channel 2. Great. So let's hit the 3 dots next to it and hit edit. All right, so you come in, you see first channel, haze, 8-bit. The DMX default is 27, and on the blower it's 128, and that explains why we were at, I forget what level the blower was at 40 F5 or something, and that is scalable between 0 and 255 and what the user is entering. And that gets into our next point. So you see DMX default 27. Now that doesn't mean that it's just outputting at 27. It is setting the DMX to 27, but you saw in the display on the console portion that it was at 0, and there's a reason for that. Now let's hit the little pencil next to it. Now you see the little pencil next to channel 1. Here you can enter, and you can modify this fixture if you want and make like a custom variant on an existing fixture, and this is the point of this little recording here. So user min, there's nothing set. User max, nothing set. User default value, nothing set as far as the user. But the DMX default is set to 27. And that becomes important. Let's get out of this. You can hit the little X at the top or really click anywhere. Now, instead of hitting the little pencil, and this is a little unintuitive to me, but I think in the original Blackout 1, I think it was similar. I'm not sure. So click anywhere else on haze. So number 1 haze, click anywhere else. You'll see it highlight. Now it brings up channel functions and channel conditions. And this can be its own separate video, just in general on fixtures. I'm sure I will do one of those eventually. But for the purpose of this video, look at the range. So you got a range from, a range to. That's like a what do you call it? A user interface, like a GUI. So the user sees 0 to 100 with a slider, 0 to 100%. That makes sense to a person. Like, do I want it at 0? Do I want it at 100? Do I want it somewhere in between? Then the DMX range, this is what is actually being communicated to the fixture. So if you look up a lot of profiles, if you look up manufacturer profiles for DMX, the DMX settings, in a lot of cases you'll see that they're not using the entire range. And it may be because they're segmenting, maybe it's not just a complete slider, maybe it's like 0 to 10 is this, 11 to 20 is this, as far as like maybe different colors or different options, maybe different effects. I think green magenta a lot of times will have like 0 to 10 is like unused and 11 is really 0. So this is a long rambling way of saying for this V-Hazer, which this is not a V-Hazer, but for V-Hazer, the way the manufacturer has it set is that it doesn't use 0 to 26. It starts at 0 being 27, if that makes sense. So at the bottom you see range from to, that's the user interface. DMX range from, that's what the fixture cares about. This Hazer probably counts 27 as not 0. It might not be, it might be 10, it might be 5, it might be whatever. It's a range between 0 and 255. So if you hit the little edit button here, the little pencil on the bottom line, you can change this. So you can see on the top, it says name, description, you can update, you can make variants of your own. But 0 to 100 and then 27 to 255, that corresponds to what you saw on the outside. So you can change the 27. Again, I know, long rambling way of saying what you've already deduced. DMX range from, call it 0. Now save the change. Now you can see range from 0 to 100, DMX range 0 to 255. So in theory now, when I patch my variant of the V-Hazer into my project, now they should truly be seeing 0, and they shouldn't just start spitting out haze when it's at 0. Again, I'm not sure this is the best way to do it. It may be better just to do 2 dimmers. Maybe that's easier. I do think if you have your own Hazer that you use all the time, it's probably nice to create a user variant that you can just add as a fixture, a custom profile that you can just use yourself. You can add, because it will add itself to the cloud database because it's yours. If that makes sense. Again, long and rambling, I know. So now I should hit save. Now the DMX default is still set to 27. I'm gonna go ahead and change that too. Let's change the default to 0. Because again, my goal is for when I patch in my version of V-Hazer, and if I want to name it to Darren's Hazer or whatever, let's say 0. DMX default value 0. Set to slider, set to curve linear, save. Okay, then there's another save at the top. Now I should be getting, you see the manufacturer is now changed to user custom. And if I want to, I can upload it to the cloud. I'm not gonna bother, this is not something I'm keeping for right now. Let's go ahead and patch it and test out to make sure that I'm correct. Because I haven't done that. I haven't actually tested it with the fixture. So again, we're gonna make this fixture number 1, just for fun. And we're gonna say the address is 10. Oh, nope, address 10. Okay, let's save it. Let's make sure this still has DMX okay. Let's go to fixtures. Now the Hazer is here, like it was before, but it's not automatically just spewing out haze. Because in theory, if I go to fixture controls, it's interesting that blower is at NAN. I don't know what that's about. I don't even think I touched the blower, did I? I'll go back and check just to make sure. I don't think I touched the blower, so I don't know why it's at NAN. Blower now doesn't do anything. Like why? DMX okay. Let me make sure I'm on channel 10. All right, let's pause this. We'll keep rolling and maybe hopefully figure this out. Let's go to patch. Let's unpatch our user custom. You want to unpatch the selected fixtures? Okay. Add fixture. Let's go back into our custom. Edit. So what did I do? I didn't even touch the blower, so why did the blower change? Like the second line, I didn't even go into edit that. User default value 128, and now it's NAN for some reason. I don't see anything that would make that not work. Doesn't make sense. But let's just look at the blower. There's no channel functions. I don't think I should have to add this because I'm not remapping anything. So let's just try it though. Let's just say 0 to 1, because I don't, again, somehow screwing around with this level interacted with the blower too. I don't know what, if I add a remapping to channel 1, I don't know, it doesn't make sense that I would also have to do it to channel 2. But let's just do the same thing. We're gonna say make the ranges the same, because I'm just trying to do 0 to 100. And like I said, I don't know that it's actually interacting with that in a way that's not on off anyway. Save. All right, so let's close that. Let's look at this one. Do I need to add? I'm so confused. Like the channel function disappeared on this one. Doesn't make any sense. All right, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not saying it's a bug. I know Blackout 2.0 is new. It was in beta, and then it came out of beta, so it's not technically in beta anymore. So, like I said, I don't know that this is a bug. Save that. Close that. So now we have a range here. I wonder if I need to, one thing I would need to name it. Channel functions. It just disappeared again. Am I crazy? I did add. Interesting. I didn't see anything tell me I was going to lose information if I didn't do something. So I wonder if this is a bug that I'm now trying to explain. Possibly. Save it. So I did hit save. Let's just save it and then maybe come back in. If I come back into this and they're gone, I think I'm just going to give up. Yeah, I think I just need to give up. See, the blower is still there. That's weird. I'm gonna try one more time. Let's call it test 0. Doesn't make sense to me. Again, it absolutely could be user error here. Absolutely. Oh, nope. Absolutely could be user error. Save it. Let's go back in. Well, it's gone. And this one's here. Doesn't make sense. It's channel functions. The only other thing I could do is I could try to create a custom function. I may run out of card space. Let's just try it real quick. Patch, add fixture, create new. Generic haze. Well, fuck. Let's just call it Mocha Hazer. Probably gonna run out. Let's call it test. I mean, I could always redo this. Save. Fixture mode. Call it 1. It's only 1. Save. Parameter. Select parameter. We'll call it. Let's see if there is one for haze. 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 User min, user max. Sure. Default value 0. DMX default value 0. Sure. And I think you have to repatch it. So I shouldn't force it to be at 27. This should just be everything 0 to 100, 0 to 255, I believe. So let 8-bit, correct. And then let's add one more channel. Why did it call it? Oh. Sure. We'll call fan, right? Yeah, fan, blower, whatever. Fan seems, must be a number. Oh, channel number. I'm sorry. I'm getting myself frazzled. Parameter. Let's just try fan. Fan speed. That sounds about right. 0 to 100. User default 0. DMX default 0. Sliders. Slider and linear sounds good. 8-bit sounds good. Inverted, no. Save it. Now I'm not remapping anything to like 27 or whatever, so we're just going to skip that whole step. So it's the Mocha Hazer. Patch 2. Oh, I forgot. I think I forgot to. You know what we're going to do? We're going to put this on channel 7 just to save some time. Fixture number 1000. Great. Address 7. Say OK. Save it. All right. So let's go down to 7. DMX okay. Let's go to fixtures. Let's go to our Mocha Hazer. Let's see what happens. 100, 100, maybe. Okay, so I probably will include this, even though it just makes it all way more convoluted than I intended. Probably gonna run out of card space. So if I turn off haze, what if can I go to like a mid-grade? Interesting enough, that seems to be affecting the amount. Sort of. What about fan speed? Yeah, fan I think is just on off. It may be what the user sets in here, but I have not really detected a difference when I go in here and I modify the values manually, expecting these to be kind of like on-off buttons. I don't really notice like the fan is blowing less. I mean, if I go in like right now and I go to like fan and I get volume, it's at 16. So if I turn the fan all the way up here and I start dialing this up, I'm now at 40. 60. Approaching 100. I don't like notice a difference. Could just be the model. I would think normally you'd set it in here, and if this acts as an on-off button for that type of hazer, this would be on-off, and it would be what you say here. I don't really notice a difference. I could be doing something wrong. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there, and back to the video, or back to yesterday. One of the things I really had a hard time understanding is, great, it's getting a DMX signal. It's 2 channels, theoretically. How do I address this thing? How do I tell it I want you to be channel 5 or 7 or 12 or 235? On the back of this, I can go through functions. There's volume, fan, add, ADD, which my assumption is address. And at first it says it oscillates between 218 and 219, 218, 219, 218, 219. I thought it was telling me that was the 2 channels. So I set it to 218. That did absolutely nothing. So I'm like, okay, so 218, 219, and it wouldn't always appear. Like right now it says address and it says REA for ready, meaning it's ready to spit out fog. And I was like, okay, brain, well, there's only 512 channels to try. I tried DMX address 1, I tried 218, I tried 219. I don't know if this is relevant to other hazers of this type. If I hit volume, it brings up, and when I first brought it up, it was at 7. So I'm able to change it. Again, it's just weird. I'm assuming now that I've now set it to channel 10. Let's just make sure that our infinibar is still behaving. It is. Let's go to atmosphere and let's wake it up. Nothing's happening. All right, that's a good sign, I think. Let's just add another fixture. So let's patch, since we've already created the hazer, let's do another atmosphere one. And we'll just do channel, so we'll call it fixture number 2, just because. And let's take 10 and 11. So starting in address 10, and let's save it. Okay, let's go back to fixtures. So now, I'm assuming that I did that. This is how this works. It doesn't make sense to me. It might be a language barrier thing, you know? Yeah, which, nothing wrong with that. No. Let's try wake up and haze on. And watch now, it's not gonna work. Huh? All right, I doubted myself for a second. Or maybe not myself, but I doubted the thing. So it's doing stuff. Fan hasn't really kicked all the way on. Let's just turn them up to 100. All right, that brings the fan up. Again, this profile is not built for this hazer. So that did work, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop it. So let's stop and stop.
I need to work on this.
I need to work on it?
Yeah.
All right, well,
I
thanks.
need to fix it.
Fix it? I think it's working the way it's expected to. I don't think I'm gonna do anything. All right. Yeah, I don't know how helpful of a tutorial this is. Most fixtures, like Airy, like Cream Source, like Aperture, they will have their DMX profile information very clearly found on the internet. You can just look it up on whatever, if you're using like Lumiere, if you're using Blackout, if you're using Sidus Link Pro, those are in like a cloud database, and you can just say, I want this, I want the InfiniBar, PB12, 48 pixel, 1 pixel, whatever, and it's just there. But it also gives you the ability to manually enter a fixture, and you're basically just telling each channel 0 to 255 to broadcast information, and it's the fixture and either the wire or the wireless, the CRMX, just passing that information along. So if you're ever on set and someone needs you to tie one of these things, or a light fixture where you just can't find, you can't find information about it online. If it's a DMX fixture, each of those things is expecting information. Usually the first channel on a light fixture is intensity. So if you don't know how many channels, if you're guessing, if it's something that someone got from it, it's some sort of a knockoff of a whatever, and you can't find anything, go ahead and start with like 6 or 7 or 8 channels and just throw it in there. And you can just start dialing it up, like just pretend they're dimmers and just start dialing up and see how does the fixture respond. And usually it's like, it's intensity, it's green magenta, it's CCT, it's crossfade. Anyway, the whole purpose of this was you're on set and you have a fixture or a hazer, and you're like, hey, and someone's like, yo, can you tie this into DMX? We want to be able to control it. And you're like, I don't know. Well, now you're slightly more further along that road to say yes. From what I've read, most tend to be 2-channel, basically hazers and fan. I'm sure there are more complex ones with other channels, and those most likely have the information that you can find. You can go on the internet, type in whatever the manufacturer is, or you can just go into Blackout or Lumiere or Sidus Link Pro and actually search for the model hazer you have, and the profile is probably already exists. This does not exist in anything I can find, and just finding information on it was difficult. So again, the whole purpose of this conversation is having something that's a little more generic, something where you don't have that profile that you can just zap into the DMX program. And what do? This is Scott. Hi there, Scott. I'm trying to take our hazer and make it DMX controllable. I finally got it to work, but I'm like at the end, I'm like, is this even helpful? All right, but that's not what you called about. So we'll leave you with a little DMX activated fog. See, I didn't even have to go all the way over here. It's one right here. Thanks so much for joining Tailslaters. This has been a foggy attempt to make DMX talk to this cube through this rectangle with input from this rectangle and assist from this rectangle. So many rectangles.